Speaking of being beaten with garden hoses, should we talk about Raw last week?
Very, very briefly, because it was a long time ago and we watched a lot of
Yes.
wrestling since then, so I don't know how much...
Well, I'm not going to go into a lot of detail. I wanted to recognize a couple of things, and I wanted to call to task a couple of things. They're continuing the build with Dominic Mysterio and Cody, and I can't wait to see how this works out. It's genius booking in that you put Cody against a guy that Dominic has more heat per se than anybody in the company. He's not the biggest star or the biggest draw, but the people are having fun now really disliking him. But he's still the heel that you can beat and not take the heat off of him. And Cody needs more heels to beat till he gets back to Brock. So this is genius. And it elevates Dom to be in the ring with the biggest babyface in the business. So anyway, and they did the whole deal with Dominic and Cody and Rhea, Mommy, face to face, and Rhea will speak for him because when he opens his mouth, the fans drown him out. But they're continuing to build the deal where this time Cody offered him a free shot and Dominic started, but then he turned around and walked out, and Cody promoted the Money in the Bank match and called him Mommy's little boy. And I'm liking their interaction again. And it's perfect.
I agree.
And then we had Shaky Nakamura against Ricochet with Bronson Reed at ringside. It was the same three guys going back and forth. Ricochet won. Did you watch Ronda versus Raquel?
Unfortunately, I had something I needed to do at that precise moment.
Yeah, at that just exact moment, and there was no such thing as a DVR. Well, I'll tell you that I thought I will watch this because I'm a fan of Raquel's, and she's big and she's got some size. And Ronda Rousey, as they started, seemed to be trying as opposed to sleepwalking like she's been doing lately. And Raquel was strong and used her power, and woman handled Ronda, and they were having a different kind of match. And then suddenly Liv Morgan just tackled Shayna, and Ronda went for an arm bar and rolled her up 1, 2, 3 in about 2.5 minutes. I'm like, oh, well, okay. And Seth Rollins and Finn Balor got in another fight. You remember that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. You always say you never watch Miz. Jim, you never watch The Miz. Well, I decided I'm going to watch The Miz because he's wrestling Tommaso Ciampa. And for anybody who didn't see what happened, here comes Tommaso Ciampa for this match. I love Ciampa's work. I want to see more of him. He's been off with the injury. He's coming down the aisle. Miz jumps him, runs him into everything, beats him up, and took forever. Nobody tried to help, and Miz walked off and left him. No match. But fortunately, they had a match with Dominic, but it was against Tozawa, and Dominic beat him in 2 minutes. And then they had a summit with all the girls in the Money in the Bank match. Trish and Becky and Bayley and Io and Zoe and Zelina. Key Largo, Montego, baby, where did we go? Down to Bermuda, Bahama. Come on, pretty mama. I'm vomiting, I'm puking. Oh, 'cause they won't stop talking. I just decided to fast forward to the fight. Brian, did I miss anything on the verbiage?
You missed a lot of the notes that Carl Wilson would normally hit, but no, you didn't miss anything else.
All righty, well, Becky punched Trish. They had a sloppy six-way. Zelina hit Io with her shoe. Io dove on everybody, and Becky climbed the ladder and got the case, in case you were wondering. All righty. Now, there was actually something that I legitimately watched, and we might be serious about it if you remember any of this in your stupor that you were in because you had other things to do.
Yeah.
Gunther against Sami Zayn. Ring any bells?
I mean, I remember seeing these men in the ring in a match,
Yeah.
but it sounds like you have deeper thoughts about this.
Deeper thoughts. Well, just colloquially, I'd like to go over a few of my deeper thoughts. They wrestled. Again, Gunther's almost flawless. I love to watch him work. And Sammy can sell, and that's what he was going to be, the underdog guy selling and fighting from underneath. And so they've got the makings of something good here. And they get started. They had the night's best headlock right off the bat. They actually can perform arm drags. It's amazing how much basic, simple maneuvers register when you never see anybody else doing them anymore. And they went to break in 2 minutes, and I wrote, God damn it. But when they came back, they had a good match. They go back and forth. Sammy had to work and finally made his comeback to make Gunther take a bump. And when he did, it got a big pop because people have been waiting on it. And they go through several false finishes. And boom, then Owens gets on Kaiser and Gunther puts the big boot to Owens, but Sammy dives on Gunther and things are happening. And the people are chanting, Sammy, Sammy. And Sammy suplexes Gunther into the corner, and Owens and, what's his name, Gerhard Kaiser Wilhelm, wherever the fuck he's from. They're fighting, and here comes the other one, the one that's hurt, the bald one, Leonardo da Vinci. And he comes out on crutches and gets up on the apron, and Sammy turns to face him, and he literally takes the crutch and jabs Sammy in the throat with it, kind of. And Sammy staggers into a power bomb, 1, 2, 3. And I was like, oh, fuck. When they came back from the break, they gave them a little bit of time. They had a good match. These guys are capable of all kinds of different things, and they continue to have the worst, cheap, quick, get-out-of-it finishes that I've ever seen in my life on these television programs. So, good match, lousy finish. And then the heels started heat on the baby faces, but here came Matthew Riddle with the Jefferson County Police Department on his tail. No, then came the real Matt Riddle, and he made the save and beat the heels up with a crutch. Boy, howdy.
Indeed.
Yes.
I don't know what else I could add to that. You know, I'm not a fan of Riddle, so him getting involved in this doesn't excite me. Gunther's great, but the stuff with Sammy and Kevin leading into this hasn't really been doing it for me either.
Oh, well, whatever they're trying to get Owens to do now with this losing his temper thing, and he's just being silly about it, because you can tell when he doesn't like something, he's going overboard and being silly, because it is stupid to just suddenly, what the fuck, he's flipping out constantly. But they had him over with as the opposition to the bloodline. They win the belts, and they got nothing for him to do afterwards but have scripted interplay with various teams that people are not really wanting to see him wrestle. So there you go. Finn Balor against Carmelo Hayes. They went to break in a minute. They came back, and in 3 more minutes, Finn Balor double stomped him, but I was past caring. Now, that match ended at 10:26 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Brian.
Right.
And the bell rang to begin the next match, which was the main event, at 10:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. 19 minutes. What we got was breaks and plugs and backstage comments and announcers plugging shit and entrance and break and another entrance or whatever the fuck. But it took 19 minutes to get one match out, and the next match started. Anyway.
That's WWE TV for you.
Cody Rhodes versus Damian Priest. And again, I want to see this because Cody's been impeccable and Priest is really looking like a top guy. And they had a good match. Nothing crazy, but at the same time, they did the same thing. This time they went to break in 3.5 minutes. So they tried to get us to halfway get hooked in it. And of course, Dominic's at ringside also. So basically, when they went into the meat of the matter, Priest had got the heat. Cody kind of arm dragged him off the top rope in a kind of a cool little move, and then made a comeback. Boom, boom, boom. And then Rhea draws the referee, and Dominic trips Cody while he's going for the cutter. Priest hits a choke slam. They get a pop on the 2 count, and Cody manages to kick out. And then Cody foils the razor's edge, shoves Priest into Dominic, hits the Cody cutter and the crossroads. Boom. 1, 2, 3. And they built to the finish and got a pop out of it. And then Dominic ran and hit Cody from behind again and ran back out. So, good solid match, good finish. A couple of those were in this 3-hour program. And apart from that, it was 2 hours and 30-something minutes of boringness where nothing happens and nobody gets hurt, as opposed to the other side where too much happens and everybody gets hurt.
It's not an exciting episode of Raw. Not that too many of them are, but this one, there was not too much that stood out.
But in the theory that McDonald's has one of the shittier cheeseburgers but sells more of them than anyone else, again, people in large numbers are watching Raw or sleeping through Raw with the show on to catch what's going to happen with Cody and what's going to happen with the bloodline. Am I basically right? Is there anything else going on that anybody gives a shit about?
You know, I would put Judgment Day in the mix just because I think there is something happening with that, whether it's the Dominic reactions and people wanting to be a part of that.
Yeah. Well, and their current protagonist is Cody, so that's part of that thing in there. And Rhea Ripley, we know. Yes. Okay, I apologize. But that's about it.
Who you apologizing to, me or Rhea?
I apologize to you that I didn't mention Rhea and Priest and Dominic. Almost all the Judgment Day. Otherwise, is there anything, is anybody tuning in for the ongoing adventures of Alpha Academy featuring Shoosh Boy and Model Girl?
I can't imagine who enjoys that.
So that's, and we'll talk about, I can't remember, the ratings for last Monday's Raw were again well up near 2 million, were they not?
I don't have them in front of me. Hold on, give me a second.
All right, well, I'll just vamp, as Bill Behrens would say, while you do that. But the point that I was making about the whole thing is, we know that SmackDown, again, last week, did big numbers, and I expect that it's going to be fucking huge again for the one that took place last night as we're doing the first part of this program, Friday night, June 30th, because of the big Roman Reigns Solo Usos confrontation in the main event. And I'm saying there's literally nothing else happening on these WWE programs that you would think anybody would give 2 shits about, but their ratings are going up.
Raw, on average, did 1,973,000 viewers.
And if you have that information in front of you, where did they? What was the hours? Where did they start? What was 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, and 11 o'clock?
8 o'clock.
Or well, yeah, you know what I'm saying.
8 o'clock was 2,129,000 viewers. 9 o'clock, 2,132,000 viewers. 10 o'clock, 1,965,000 viewers. And the final quarter, 10:45 to 11 p.m., Cody versus Damian Priest with picture in picture. No picture in picture. 1,744,000 viewers.
Okay, so they lost 385,000 people from start to finish of a 3-hour program, which is somewhere around 50, let's say 16, 18% as I'm eyeballing it of the audience. But for the first 2 hours, they only lost 100. Is that? Yes. That would be 100 and basically 164,000 people. which would be a little over 5, maybe 6 or 7% of what they started with.
Looking at the data that WrestleNomics has here, it follows the trend line. I mean, everything was primarily above 2 million until right before 10 o'clock, and then it's the 10 o'clock hour. You go from 1,965,000 to 1,795, and then you kind of settle down and go back up for the main event, but it follows the trend each and every week.
And since Roman is on SmackDown now, they have kicked this thing in the ass. SmackDown's biggest rated quarter, more often than not now, if Roman is on last or the Bloodline business is on last, that's the last 15 minutes is the highest rated part of the show.
We've been saying it. They train the audience to know, check in with the show, see what's going on. Maybe you like one of the wrestlers, but you better be there for the last 15 minutes.